down here.
That's okay. It's okay if we don't touch it. It's not a problem. Except I'm not in the screen.
Hans wants to be more on the screen there.
Look. This is how you set me
Include
up.
yourself.
But me on my screen, I'm good. So we're two Facebook lives here.
First, hello to all our fans, especially the ones in Mexico. We know who you are.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're still in Florianopolis. It is Tuesday, April 14, I think.
I think it's the 15th.
15?
Hey, Sean.
And we're still in Florianopolis. Doing our morning ritual, getting up 4:55, 5:55.
And we're thinking of all you poor suckers out there who have to do. You're stuck in a house with your wife or your girlfriend, and you're like, ah!
I was talking with an ex-girlfriend of mine.
So this is for the gentlemen,
yes,
by the way.
On how to deal with conflict in Corona times.
Yes.
What better time than now?
A better place than here.
Yes. I was talking with an ex-girlfriend who lives in Bucharest, and I was talking how it's going, what are you doing, you know? And I said, how's love? She's living with her boyfriend, and so she says she's limited in what she can do in Bucharest. They're not supposed to go out, but she has the boyfriend, and we're here in Brazil, and we got the freedom to do whatever we want. We're in the sun, we're on the beach. I can ride my bike, but we have no women.
Yes.
And so
we really don't know what you guys are going through out there.
Yes. Well, I've lived with women, so maybe it's a bit more intense. She said, you have the freedom, and I have the intimacy, you know, and she doesn't have the freedom, and we don't have the intimacy. So it's a bit of an issue, but
anyway.
But if you're living with your woman, now is a time where well, maybe cabin fever is the highest. I've heard it from guys. I ask, how is it with your family, and they say, well, I'm learning to tolerate. Learning to tolerate
yes.
both my wife and my children. So
yes,
it's tough times. And what do you do during these times when you can't escape, you can't run out, you have to deal with it, you have to run?
Well, let's talk about the conflicts, the actual conflicts. Mm-hmm. And one that immediately comes to mind is, you know, okay, let's just talk about a man and a woman in the house. Boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. And the typical scenario is probably he's in his own world doing something. He's working, he's watching TV, something. And she approaches him with a complaint or with something different that he should be doing, mm-hmm. or be doing more of or doing less of or something like this. I think this is a fairly common scenario. Could anyone out there relate? So, yeah. So this is just a human situation, right? Now, what happens a lot of times is we tend not to bring up issues that frustrate us until they frustrate us so much
that we can't hide them no more.
And we're also empowered by the anger of it, and we feel righteous in it.
Right.
God damn it! This is the 10th time he's done this. I'm gonna confront him now, right? So at that point, like, he's already wrong, and we're righteous. And I'm speaking as if I'm the female, and and then he's just sitting somewhere, and all of a sudden he's being attacked,
right?
You know, and he's like, "The hell is wrong with this crazy woman?" Mm-hmm. You know, and so the judgment comes back, right? This is the, this is great. This is beautifully diagrammed by my honor window, which we're not going to do today, but
yeah, it's as if we're trying to avoid it in a way. You know, I see that, and it's.
What do you mean?
We try to avoid the disagreement. In fact, I would say that disagreement or discussion in our romantic ideas of love is seen as, let's say this, the quality of a relationship seems to be measured by the absence of disagreement. Like, we're not fighting, we don't have disagreements, we get along. And
we have some comfort.
Yeah, it's like everything is going well, as if the disagreement is a bad thing. It's like we don't really want to go there. This is what I experience when I talk to people. And what I learned...
And when you talk about guys who are just tolerating...
Yes.
It's like, I haven't freaked out and killed her yet. Or I haven't left the house for good, and it's like I've got it under control. Right. I'm not,
Right.
Yeah.
And when tension comes up, we try to like dissipate it and like go back to comfort and none of that disagreement. And what I learned with time, at least in my relationships, is that those not only are disagreements you can't... The quality of a relationship is not defined by the absence of disagreement. The quality of my relationship is defined by how I deal with disagreement. Because disagreements are going to happen. And so they're inevitable.
Yes.
And not only are they... So that's what I learned. Oh, they're inevitable. It's coming, So it's coming, so I better deal with it.
Yes.
And so with time I learned that they're not only inevitable, they're like necessary evil, I thought. I have to deal with this.
Yes.
And then I learned with time they're way more than necessary evil. They are, in fact, the gateways to relating well. So they're not like a trouble I have to deal with. There really are opportunities, and it's in the disagreement and how I deal with the disagreement that my relationship is formed. It's in the tension when you disagree that you're going to shape your masculinity, her femininity, the way you relate, the relationship. So there are opportunities.
Yes, and also it's a great opportunity for honor. As you know, with some experience with the honor work, the more that there is to face, the more conflict there is, the greater the opportunity to presence honor, and in both of you. It's actually to take the relationship into a deeper place of honor with the conflict. It's a very interesting thing, but we were out on the beach this morning, we were going to take a stand.
Yes.
I'm not feeling much honor on taking the stand. Like it's not really working because there's nothing for me to face right now.
Right.
Like I'm not, But if I had a lot of fear or something, if there was something like big there, whoa, I could presence honor, and the tears might be streaming down my face, and I'd be so wow.
You had a bigger opportunity,
like a revelation,
I felt.
And
yeah.
I just want to add one other thing, and for me in my relationships, I'm not judging by with a woman. I'm not judging by. I don't want to get it back to comfort to where she's not upset at me. What I want is a high amount of honor to be present.
Right.
And for a guy who is not used to holding, like if that's not the reality he's used to, then when it's gone, he doesn't know it's missing.
Right.
And the best maybe he can get is comfort or some sense of like I'm pleasantly comfortable.
Right.
Right. But if your standard is honor, then when it goes down, even to comfort, it's got to go back up to honor.
Right.
And the other one for me, like it's really important to maintain that tesão, that desire, that if it's a romantic relationship, that sexual excitement, that joie de vivre, joie de vivre, and there's that zest for life, and the conflict is great for that.
Yes. Like
the conflict is a gateway not just to honor but to excitement itself.
There's enormous tension and energy. It's there's not for nothing that makeup sex is some of the best sex there is out there.
Yes.
There's a lot of energy there, but I think that's an essential, especially for guys, because I'm assuming that people will go through this as well, because I've gone through this. It was a huge insight to me to see that the disagreement is not necessary evil, but a gateway, an essential gateway to my relationship. It's in that moment that I get the opportunity to define who I am for her, who she is for me. Yep. It's right there, and you go, instead of going, fuck, how do I deal with this? You go, okay, here we go,
Yes.
And you go right through it. Like you said today, I didn't feel much honor, but this morning, contrary to all the other mornings, there's rain and it's a bit colder this morning. And I felt it was a lot more epic for me, you know. Now I have a reason that if I wake up now, there's a lot more honor in it just because it's raining.
Yes.
So the situation is harder. So there's a bigger opportunity for honor.
Yes.
Like Corona is present, there is a big opportunity here for honor, for a better relationship, to do something memorable, you know. And so you could see it as a problem that you want it to go away, but you could also see, wow, what a great opportunity we get. Like I hear a lot of guys talk about how they feel a lot more connected with their woman also, or with their family, you know. So
so it's like from the conflict, like if we just try to dissipate the conflict. And are we going to engage with people today?
No, I saw questions. Maybe we'll deal with the questions at the end.
If the conflict comes and we're feeling like, oh, not again, woman, or whatever, you know, like we're judging her, and then we're just trying to placate her or appease her or whatever, she's not going to have joy in this. We're not going to have joy in it. And if we just judge her and fight her from that place of judgment, she's not going to enjoy it. We're not going to enjoy it. So it's like suffering. There's suffering, and let me say, not suffering. There's like the feeling judged and the feeling in the conflict. And then if you just compromise to get back to comfort, you also suffer in the long term, because you're resenting her. You're resenting yourself, really, also in a way, because you're not rising to the occasion, and you're not leading.
Yes.
You're not leading.
I was just realizing that how compromising is always a reaction. The situation is coming, and now you're reacting. Instead, if you could see the opportunity and lead it and say, wow, thank you, and here we go. And you, as a man, certainly, I would say, you go first, you know, before something. As soon as you see there's a bit of tension, or there's conflict possible, or you see the opportunity and you go right through the storm, you know, instead of trying to avoid it, you go right through it. And you lead that, you know, you go first, you, like you say, rise to the occasion, and you walk your woman through it, and proactively.
Well, what I would say is the greatest opportunity to lead is actually not in the moments of conflict, but it's before it comes up. So if you are leading the relationship with saying, like, every week I create it so we get together and we create our relationship. Right. We review these conflicts or whatever. And then that way, when things come up, you can say, remember, we agreed we'll talk about this on Saturday night before we go out and celebrate together. Right. Or Sunday morning when we have this beautiful ritual designed, when we think about how can we make our relationship even more beautiful, or something like this. And if you have the agreements with her, this is how I run the iStands. You have the really powerful stand that you're both making, the agreements.
It's great.
And then when something comes up, the conflict comes up, you can say, remember our agreement. And if she keeps coming, then you go to the next level, because now she's breaking her agreement, and she's disrespecting you, and she's disrespecting herself. And so that's where you can draw the line. But if you don't have clear agreements, if you don't have a clear game that you're playing, then you're just always going to be reacting to what she brings up.
It's the same like trying to wake up. If you're going to try to rely on how you feel in the moment, on your discipline, it's not going to work. You know, whenever you have the time, put a system in place. And it's the same with relationship. Put a system in place that has, say, weekly meetings, that has we exchanging vows, that has you agreeing on how you're going to deal with this agreement when it happens.
This is very much related to like our morning rituals, where it's like, once we've made this agreement that we're doing this with ourselves, right? In the moment when we're like, I don't want to get up, it's like that. This isn't the time for that. This isn't the time for that, to bring up that complaint. Bring it up at the weekly meeting with yourself or with your ally when it's time to see how your rituals are going, and then maybe redesign them. It's the same principle. It's funny, you know what I mean? But it's like that other part of you. You could say that's the woman inside your head or whatever, right?
I really like the idea of like saying like a weekly. I'm thinking back of relationships, and what I would do. This is very practical. What I would do is I would exchange vows, which means and I've said this before, but that's the starting ground. I would exchange vows with girlfriends and say, I will do everything I can in my power to keep myself happy, and I will never hold you responsible for the way I feel. So you're off the hook. Just take a full responsibility for my happiness. And then I would say, when we have disagreements, I will limit my criticism, my defensiveness, my stonewalling, my contempt. So I got these from Gottman, and it's a great way to set up when disagreements are going to come.
Yes.
This is what's going to happen.
You've agreed on how you're going to be and
how we're going to be in when conflict comes.
And if you're stepping outside of that, she can call you back to that. But that's not her just complaining. Yes. That's her reminding you of your commitment.
Yes.
So that's an opportunity to return to your honor.
Yes.
Because you've already said who I want to be and how I want to be. That's great.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that,
do you have nothing?
Then all you got is she's complaining that you're
right.
not playing at a higher level.
Right.
So you have to actually lead by setting those standards and those
that's a great idea before it comes. You know? So exchange vows, have agreements. I like this of like weekly meetings and then
this is great. This is how Deborah and I did our relationship with. It was super intentional, super created, and always looking for the upgrade, and it just kept getting more beautiful and more powerful. And we thought of it as an alliance. We are allies first and foremost, standing for each other's highest good and each other's growth. And it was amazing to have a woman playing with you in a relationship at that level. And I want to bring this up because one of the things that I realized through my work and my relationships over time is that to prevent her upset, the biggest, most powerful thing you can do is start every morning reminding her who you are for her, who she is for you.
Right.
In a way that just has her go, yes.
Right.
Because her biggest thing, like when you haven't taken out the trash, or you're not doing what you said you would do, or you're not bringing in the money or whatever, her biggest thing is like, who am I to him?
Right.
And do I even matter to him? It's like she's wondering, who am I in the story of his life, and who is he in this story? And so if you start every day answering that...
Wait. Every complaint is a call for her to remind her who she is for you and who you are for her. Every complaint of her is that.
To remind her of that?
To remind her who you are, who she is for you. She wants to be remembered of that. That's every complaint. You can see it like that. It's not like the trash, or she wants to be remembered by you. She wants you to remind her who she is for you.
Yes.
That's the complaint.
Yes.
You say, oh, okay, now I know. That's what she wants.
But generally speaking, better to do it before the complaint happens.
Yes.
And this will eliminate so many complaints.
I like that you say that every day. I had the concept of like, marry your woman every day. Imagine you do that every morning. You say, who you are for me. I like this. How you are for me, who I am for you. You still want to be married today? Let's go. And because
Deborah and I did that one day at a time.
Yes.
It was no grand promise. It was every day we make a promise for that day.
I don't promise to be with someone for the rest of my life, but I can promise to be with that person every single day of my life. I can promise it over and over again. Because a commitment is to me also the cornerstone of a really intentional relationship. And that's contrary to the whole romantic idea of you fall in love with the right person and you're happily ever after.
It's so exciting to start the day like that, because you are creating who you are for her in that moment.
In a way, we're married also.
Yes. Well, this is I mean, that's funny in terms of your gay jokes, but no, but I really think that I see a possibility for friends say, let's become brothers.
Yes.
Let's have vows for each other, who we are as brothers.
Let's become allies.
From here to the end. You know what I mean? And I think that that's a far more, rather than just having like family that you're born into and friends, and then like a one intimate partner who you only share deeply with one person in life. Like, what if you have real allies men and women. I'm not talking about sex or anything like that. I'm talking about people who are here forever, based on a high level of commitment.
And all you need for that, the thing you need, and the only thing you need, is a commitment from both parts. That you go, I want to make this work. I commit to being your ally for the rest of your life, and the other does it too. That's all you need. In relationships, I think it's the same with a woman. You know, if you say, I'm committed to make this work no matter what, you know, however it looks, we may be lovers or not, we may be boyfriend, girlfriend, married or not, but I'm committed to make this relationship work, meaning I'm going to thrive, you're going to thrive in it. I'm committed to it no matter what. The alternative is not an option, you know. If that comes from both sides, that's all you need to make it work for the rest of your life. And yeah, I love the idea that you do it also. You could do that with say, brothers, you know, because we only have it in a sense.
You can say that's all you need, but there's many conflicts that arise in how to do that, because you suddenly become very vulnerable when you make that kind of a promise.
Yes.
And the moment that someone else seems to not be keeping that promise, oh, you know, it's a great challenge, but it's also like there are skills for this.
Yeah, of course. Exactly. But if that commitment is real, you know, and your actions will tell, not your words. If that commitment is real, you will find those ways, you know. And but of course, there's a skill necessary there. There's a constant working on it. It's marital art. It's martial art.
Yes.
It's like constantly trying to, or become better at it, and repeating it. Like you say, every morning you say, who am I for you and who you are for me.
Yeah.
So,
you know, oftentimes in those moments of complaint, like a lot of guys take those seriously, like, oh, she's upset, this is serious, because she wants you to see it seriously, and it is serious for her, you know. And a lot of guys will go into like, they'll respond to it in some way, but they'll take that like, this is serious. I often don't take it as serious, you know. Okay, she's upset, but what is unchanged is who I am for her, right, and who she is for me. In the grand scheme of things, this is not a serious moment, you know. So I'll go. One option I have is to go and get physical with her, you know. Reawaken her to who we are, and have her get like, this is not this ultra serious conflict that it seems to be, and it can result in play, it can result in laughter, it could result in sex, it could result in a wrestling match, you know. Like, there's like that moment of conflict or complaint or whatever is opportunity for all kinds of things.
Yes, you say it's not so it's serious, but what you're seeing is that you're seeing the bigger picture. So if you see two people, a man and a woman complains or whatever, has a tantrum or cries, and the guy reacts to it, and he's in this movie, and he's one of the protagonists, and he's like trying to play his role well. He says, what should I do here? What should I do? But when you become a real leader in a relationship, you also become the director of that movie. And all of a sudden, you're not only like, what is she saying and how do I react to this? But you take a bird perspective and you look at it and you say, oh, okay, this is what's happening. This is an opportunity here to create this relationship. What can I, as a protagonist, do in here that helps it thrive? And so you have a double role, not only as a protagonist, but also the director. And you're directing this whole relationship so that everybody shines.
Which is a real challenge for most of us men, because you know, when she's upset, she's often as well judging us, like that we are somehow making her upset.
Right.
We've done something to make her cry or be hurt or something like this. And the last thing that most guys want is to be seen as a bad man or as the source of her pain.
Right. And
we want to be the hero, so we want to solve it.
Right.
So we want to figure out how to be that good guy that can alleviate her pain. And, you know, some women are very great at consciously manipulating this desire for men to want to be the hero or the good guy, and they can manipulate it to get a lot of what they want. And some are unconsciously just really good at it, at using it to get what they want. But the moment that the guy is just, what he's managing the relationship on is wanting to maintain being seen as a good guy in her eyes, he is the follower. And what is he following? A very chaotic, emotional leader who is all over the place, and he's just like following it around. There's no leadership.
He's holding on to the boat as it goes in the waves, like fuck.
Yes, there's no leadership, and when she has forgotten who she is for you, who you are for her, when she's lost sight of this and she's emotionally reacting to it, what she's really calling for is not you to apologize and
argue,
comply with, change your behavior and say the right thing. This is not going to make her happy, and it's not going to make you happy either. What she wants is your leadership.
Yes.
What she wants is your leadership in that moment.
And in many ways, in that moment, that leadership, the only thing you have to do is stand unwavering. If women say women want a man who stays, that's what it is. When she is emotional, that you stand unwavering. When she is sad, that you stand unwavering, and that you are there for her. You stay there for her.
And what that's also communicating back to her is who you are for her.
Exactly.
Is the one who stays with her even in the face of her upset.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful thing. It doesn't need to even be in your words, but it can be in your
totally in the actions. That's where you see
in the actions and in your heart.
A great Seinfeld scene about this with George, who wants to postpone the wedding with his girlfriend, and he tries to bring it, and she starts crying, And Seinfeld said, "What did you do?" He says, "I caved, can't deal with it." Then they see a moment where a guy is in the restaurant, and they're eating, and the woman is complaining tantrum, and the guy says, he just stays the same and says, "Are you gonna eat this?" And he eats her food, and George is like, "It's fantastic." He's like, "That's a great man," in the middle of women crying, that he stays the same, and it's so hard for us men to not react to that, and to be there, to just be there for her, to stay there with her. So,
but I think also that a lot of people, and I would say generally more women than men, they manage themselves by other people being upset. If someone else is upset, my behavior is wrong, my words are wrong, I need to make everyone not upset with me. And you can see this, for example, with Trump and a lot of people's reaction to Trump. And you can have many disagreements or complaints about Trump, but a lot of what people react to is that he's behaving in a way that's making some people upset, where some people don't feel respected or welcome or whatever. And one thing you can see in this is just how many people govern their life by trying to not make other people upset. And if you do this in your relationship, I'm not saying going around being ignorant of how your behavior might be hurting your woman or other people.
Right.
But if you're trying to navigate your relationship by, let's say, keeping the boat afloat by not upsetting her too much, or calming her down, or somehow placating her, she is you're going to deprive her of real romance, of the real seeing, wow, I have a leader, and who she can look up to and feel honor for, respect for, honored by, led by, and you're also gonna not have the spirit of adventure in the relationship, and she's gonna resent that, and the passion will die and the romance will die.
Yeah, short term, we'll go back to comfort, and we're protecting her good image, but long term, that comes with suffering, and she's gonna, like you say, even though she might think in the moment, okay, I got it, or long term, she resents you for it, and the relationship will end, Yes. And instead of, it's what we said about going back to comfort and protecting your self-image instead of going for adventure, you know, and real honor, and really facing the tension. See it as the opportunity. You work with it, you know, go through it, and not trying to just be comfortable, but find something, use it as an opportunity to transform and be greater and have a better relationship afterwards.
So let's bring this back to a conversation about like how do you, it's not enough to know how to deal with a situation like this, with a conflict like this.
Yes,
Hans, you have to, like, it has to be you have to be well skilled in it. You have to be trained in it. You know, it takes practice. It takes
a lot of practice.
Commitment. It, you know, and it, like any conflict,
start some fights.
You know, a physical conflict. You become afraid, right? And it activates your amygdala, you know, which is mostly a fight or flight response.
Yes.
or even typically flight. You know, if you feel threatened, the creative part of your brain shuts down. You lose like 30% of your brain power right there. When you're feeling judged, you're far less resourceful, and so is she, because if you're feeling judged, your natural response is to judge her back. Now she's feeling threatened and attacked. Now you're both just defending, but it feels like an attack for the other person.
Right.
So how do you become masterful with those conflicts? Well, if it's in real life, like a physical fight, you can practice a martial art.
Right.
And get good and learn how to keep your composure and your peace and your presence and your ability to deal with that moment without just losing it, right? For me, that's what the honor work is about. It's a martial art for the human mind and spirit, for dealing with these inner conflicts and interpersonal conflicts. And we as humans, like we're so genius, we can fly to the moon, we can talk with someone instantly on the other side of the planet, but our technology for dealing with each other and ourselves is at a very low level in comparison.
You have great, like in my work, honor, integrity, dignity has been always very important. And when I met you, I saw you had great technology, like practical ways to install honor, to work with disagreements. But like I met you 2 years ago, and before that, the way I discovered these things is this. Like a lot of trial and error in relationships, you know. And if you think of it for guys, this is the greatest thing in relationships. You have the opportunity to do this every day. And it's not like I just said 5 minutes ago, go and pick a fight. No. But when your boundaries, what is important to you, are crossed every day by several people.
Yes.
You know, and every time this happens, you know, you have an opportunity to practice this.
Yes.
You have an opportunity to bring up that your boundaries are crossed, and to have a discussion that's win-win for both.
Yes.
So you get the opportunity to practice
every
single day. This is how I learned it. You know, you know, I've been stepped on my toe or whatever.
Yeah.
And like not go, okay, I'm not going to address it and hope it will go away. I'm going right into it. I got a great opportunity here, so I'm going right into it, and like try to have a discussion that's win-win, where I can express, hey, my boundaries are crossed, don't do this anymore.
Which is about self-respect.
Self-respect.
And a lot of men are not used. They're not guiding themselves with the standard of honor and with self-respect, and both are needed.
Yes.
Both are needed. And guys who are just trying to make her feel comfortable, mm-hmm. or and trying to make themselves feel comfortable by not having her uncomfortable, because if she's upset at you, then you're not comfortable, really. So it's just like it's a really low standard of trying to get back to comfort. It's a formula in the long term, not just for suffering,
yes,
but for really becoming a weaker man.
Yes.
And lower self-esteem, lower ability to lead yourself and other people. And for some guys who've gone down this path for a long time, it is going to be a battle.
Yes.
A big mountain to climb.
Because they've been
But we're here for you.
Yes. But I want to come back to the thing of like how practically you said it's like a martial art, you know, it practice. You got technologies developed so people can get there quicker, you know. Guys are thinking, how do I do it? The way I advise the guys is like, be on the lookout for when your boundaries are crossed, because it happens every day. And you got the opportunity every day. You got the opportunity to practice this every day. I did it for years and years and years, and I figured things out. I think your technologies that you have in place, they could have shaved off years of the learning.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And so, but it is a practice. It is over and over and over again. But the number one thing to me to realize is when there is tension, meaning you feel your boundaries are crossed, you're not happy about something. This is an opportunity. Every day you get several of them. You get an opportunity, and are you going to seize it or not? You know, are you going to compromise back to comfort, or are you going to say, okay, here we go. Let's bring this. Let's put it on the table. Let's find a solution. And it's a lot of trial and error there. And but you got these opportunities, and they're there every day. And so seize the opportunities. If you want help, talk to this guy. He knows more. Or reach out to us, because this is what we do, you know. And it's great to have brothers who are in the same journey.
We're also working on programs and offers for men to lead your woman, to lead your women, the women in your life, to be leaders. And it starts with leading yourself.
Yes.
Because that conflict with another is always first an inner conflict.
Yes, if you have any questions, let's check in. I don't know if we're going to do this well, but if you have any questions, you could put them down. There were some questions before.
Monica's there. Hey, Monica.
I don't know how to do it.
Comyn, my Maasai warrior brother from Kenya. I have one from Sean. Sean says, so the power is in the resolution of conflict, not the absence of it. Same principle as in music composition. Sean is a great musician. Without tension, there is no music.
Yes.
Interesting. Without tension, there is no music. I like that. Yes. Also in the relationship. Without tension, there is no music in the relationship. Sean says it can relate completely.
Oh, it's a long question. Yesterday I had a disagreement. This is Nico.
Yeah, take your time with it.
Okay. Yesterday I've had a disagreement which led to great sex with my girlfriend. Good for you. But the price was that I had to stay up longer and sleep at 4 a.m. and not 10 as planned. I know the solution is to make a stand, but it's so hard in reality doing it alone. That's the great advantage though. You could do it alone. And my big fear was that I was too judgmental to her. Or being falsely judgmental at her. And if not, oh man, I lose the frame. The solution is easy, but the path stony and foggy. Yes, it's what Michael said. It's a practice, you know. And it's good you have the concept. Knowing is not enough, but knowing is a good first step. And then you have to practice and practice and practice, you know. And if your sleep is important, then certainly it's very important that you practice and you do it well, so you can get more sleep next time. But
well, and what are you practicing, right? Like, are you making it up as you go? You know, what are we practicing, right? This is not something that's not taught in school.
No.
How do you deal with conflict, right? So what are we practicing? It's like trying to, you know, yeah.
But for me, it was a lot of trial and error.
Yes.
What I like from what you propose is the technologies and the stress on like having a system in place, which means you build a system and you let the system do the work for you, so you don't have to. Your role in reacting and discipline is very small. You've set it up already. If you have valves, if you know that when disagreement comes, you can refer back, you can always upgrade it. Always upgrade it.
It's also like, you know, people will say this about children, that they need rules, they need structure. It has them feel safe, it has them feel taken care of, it helps them to just relax. And the same is for your woman.
Yes.
You know, she needs to feel that you've got this, that there's a structure, that things are taken care of. And if there isn't one, you're dealing with a lot more craziness than you need to.
Right.
And so and also, like, with the structure, what it means is that if she's disobeying, if she's going against the agreement, then the discipline is reminding of the agreement, and enforcing the agreement.
Yes.
And not, it doesn't matter if she's upset, if she's disrespecting you, for example. And this is a big one for a lot of guys, because a lot of guys, especially these days, so much everything now is all about the woman and the woman rising and the feminine, and guys, a lot of guys just kind of apologizing for being a man. And if you really want to treat her right, if you really want to be a great man in your life, you must respect yourself, and that means not letting her disrespect you.
Yes.
And a lot of men won't hold that boundary, or they'll do it in a way that's like very kind of disgusting.
Well, self-respecting, but also like taking care of her by having that discussion over and over. And I had the experience with women, and we'll say this in closing, I had the experience with women that, like, you say something and you hold the boundaries, you create a system, you describe it, and then a month later or 2 months later you have to do it again, and you're like, the fuck, didn't we have this discussion already? And then it dawned on me that it is in the discussion that she feels loved. It is in the discussion that she's reminded of who I am for her. She's reminded of who she is for me. And so that like, fuck, do I have to do this again? It's not a once and for all kind of thing. It's like every time, that's the moment where the relationship is shaped, that she feels loved, you know? And so it's not necessarily evil. It's essential gateway. And it's also something you have to keep doing over and over, because there are opportunities. So when I hear Nico say, fuck.
Talking really fast.
Yes, I know. I'm excited. So when Nico says, oh, I have to do this again and again. Yes, because this is an opportunity. Don't complain about it, you know? This is an opportunity you get of rising, of being a man in that relationship. Is that a burden you want to take on or not, you know? And so... Well,
you'll take on the burden in one way or another.
Yes, exactly.
Might as well get honor out of it.
Yes.
And great sex instead of be beaten down by it.
Exactly. So don't say, oh, it's hard. No, it's glorious. It's a great opportunity. It's tough and it's great. Like getting up this morning and walk to the sea in the rain.
There's so much, Hans and I both have so much energy about this. There's so much to say. But...
well, we have a program about it. We're forming it. It's called Leading My Woman. If you're into, well, you guys know.
I think we should call it Lead Your Woman.
Lead Your Woman.
Yes.
So yeah, reach out if you have any questions. Put them on there. And
hi, Hannah.
Tomorrow we will be here again and talk to you again. All right. Take care.
Your favorite bald guys in Brazil.